Hello everyone! Pineaaronapple here with the first episode of the hot mess that is the 2018 reimagining of the classic cult film Heathers. Remade by Paramount Studios, this reimagining of the story was meant to not only be an anthology-type series, but utilised its first season to bring the classic story to a more modern school setting, rife with cyberbullying, hefty amounts of diversity, both showing good and bad sides of representation in media, and many twists along the way to keep the story fresh from the original, even if they follow the loose narrative structure to a point. This show was produced due to the popularity of the Heathers musical adaptation, that I'm sure I will cover at a later date. But unfortunately, the show ran into production issues, leaving many characters half-noted, and the finale being 3 episodes of content attempted to be smashed into one. I still love this series, call it what you will, but I believe it has some fantastic ideas and twists that leave me thoroughly entertained, even if, from a production and critical standpoint, it is a little bland and messy. Without further ado, this is Heathers 2018, or as some people call it, due to Paramount making it Pethers. Christ, that's stupid. We start with the cold open, showing a woman walking through a stocked house with many small references to the original show, and a clever use of colour that I'll get to later, don't worry. She retrieves gas, matches, and a gun with a haunting rendition of Que Sera Sera, not the song by Justice Crew. Doing well to underlay the ensuing chaos as a father and son arrive. The father rushes into the burning building, and the son sits there, safe in the car as he sees his mother wave, and Jesus fucking Christ, she shot herself! Well, this started off fun. And here comes the opening. The song Coming For You by Anna Delaria plays with some visuals of the school that vary slightly every episode, and each shot turns neon, showing secret messages relating to the show or themes. I like the visual style of this, but it is quite odd, and I can see how this would create a bad first impression of the show, even if it fits quite well with the tone. We open a small gap of 8 years later, introducing the main setting throughout the show, being Westerberg High School. The first impression is perfect, as the quote of the day is from a goddamn Kardashian.
This is where the fun begins.
And we are with our main character, Veronica Sawyer, your average high school girl for the time being, who is friends with the popular clique known as the Heathers. Ooh, metal detectors! I love America. The opening monologue from Veronica is a familiar one, as she repeats a narration in the same style as the first movie, wherein she speaks as if she's writing in her diary, which will become important later. And some decent social commentary setting up the high school dynamic. This scene with Veronica being asked by a teacher who she is sums up this show's brand of commentary quite easily, that social identity is what is important, leaving everything else in the wayside, with even the hippie feminist teacher recognizing that Veronica won't get into a college with just great scores. She needs an identity for anyone to listen to her. With the technologically advanced climate of 2018, the actions and wants of the characters are justified to a further degree than people just being cunts like in the original movie. Veronica leaves frustrated as Miss Fleming asks,
By any chance, are you a hermaphrodite?
No?
wow. She further backs up the whole needing an identity to matter argument of the show against current online society, these ideals bleeding through into the real world. Oh no, an emo stalker. Ah, an Asian. This is Betty Finn. She is a past friend of Veronica who has grown estranged as Veronica was launched further into popularity, with Betty being relegated to the stereotype of Asian nerd. This relationship is summed up well by her lament in the line,
You always had to be blue.
Even when I wanted to be blue.
As one of the side cast come by and ask Veronica to go to the Heathers, a nice clicking score is played. I like this motif that plays whenever the Heathers act as a looming presence, and I believe it was also in the original movie. The Heathers enter with a god-awful sense of style. Well, Heather Chandler. Not so much the others, they look pretty good. Relating back to the commentary, each Heather has some sort of defining feature that made a boom in the latest years, becoming more modern and normal, but also being empowered. This shows how those who were once ridiculed, or the gays, overweight people, and those who identify as trans, could possibly be glorified in a negative way on Twitter. Now let's introduce the Heathers. Heather Chandler, leader or top bitch, is an evil queen lookalike, and who uses her immense social presence, becoming famous because of how confident she is even though she's overweight, to bend others to her will in fear of being cancelled. Wow, I hate her already. Second in command is Heather Duke, a ginger who uses her cunning and right-hand position to get what she wants. And yes, she. This character was male, but identifies as trans, or probably best described as gender fluid. Usually shows like this would piss me off with representation pandering, or representation for the sake of representation, not making a decent character who happens to represent the archetype. But they don't force it down the viewer's throat like some shows do, with just an odd line here or there. This is honestly the most respectful representation of a trans character that I have seen in television, and that is most likely all I will need to say on that. Lastly is Heather Mcnamara, the one who is basically there to fit the Heather's representation quota, being both of an ethnic group and supposedly gay. Yep, that's a character. Deal with it. Duke and Mcnamara are actually decent friends with Veronica, but Chandler not so much, immediately insulting her as they meet.
Well, suck my third nipple. If it isn't Veronica Sawyer, 4 minutes late.
Yeah, sorry, I got cornered by Fleming.
How Banana Republic.
It's ironic, Heather.
We're not doing irony anymore. Keep up.
Chandler, being the bitch she is, takes a picture of one of the jocks, Ram Sweeney, who is wearing what is basically a Redskins shirt. She threatens to have him cancelled over such a racist and dangerous action unless he asks the character Jesus Julie, another stereotype, to do anal. So basically she uses political correctness gone mad to get her way as a mega SJW. Veronica has to leave as she meets our other main character, the walking emo quotebook that is JD. The boy from the beginning, and he is just such a rebel. He easily pulls apart the folly in the relationship between Veronica and the Heathers, who, even if he is a psychopath, he has a few good lines. Ooh, big fun! Let's get naked in my pool. Heather Duke and Veronica later leave the snappy snack shack and find Mcnamara making out with a teacher. Oh god, not even a hot one. Making her claim to be a lesbian completely untrue. Whatever.
Oh my clit.
I find how this show treats adults to be wonderfully satirical and hilarious at the same time, taking the "you don't understand me, it's not a phase" bullshit up to 11,000, but with the adults also painfully unaware of what's happening around them.
8 million refugees. What a shame.
Look at that poor dog.
How come I could never get these little boxes to go away?
It's because you're an idiot, Dad.
Oh yeah.
Chandler and Veronica attend a hipster art show. Christ. And we get the show's first hallucination or fantasy scene that shows how Veronica would rather be, or even her regret personified.
No way!
Making it very clear I stopped as soon as I heard the word no.
This scene happens making me choke on my juice, as it's revealed that even though Ram did as Heather said, she posted the pic anyway, leading to a very public fight. Unfortunately, she calls Heather a fatty, meaning that she's going to get cancelled very soon. Veronica scribbles some decent commentary about the power of social media bullshit in her diary, and JD appears through a window. The two totally not gay dude bros try to be cheery, and JD sums up his life and a view on capitalism as he states that wherever he was moved to, there would always be a 7-Eleven, a snappy snack shack right there. They flirt a bit, and these two actually have some pretty good chemistry. Then they decide to epically prank Heather Chandler with a plan to make her look like a Nazi, and they accidentally killed her. Yeah, so JD had these Nazi pills that were meant to induce vomiting, but he figures he must have accidentally swapped them with the suicide pills, as Heather falls over and dies almost immediately. They decide to make it look like a suicide using a badly edited video of her with Veronica's great reaction.
Oh my god. I'm gonna be experimenting with lesbianism at San Quentin instead of Sarah Lawrence.
And everyone eats it up. Now, on to this episode of Teacher Talk. Almost every episode shows at least one scene where the dumbass teachers just talk shit. Notable members include the gay theatre teacher, surprise, the old man principal, the sensitive coach, and the aforementioned Miss Fleming. They are easily the most hilarious scenes in the show. The remaining Heathers already start fighting amongst each other as Duke posts the photo that proves Mcnamara is not an actual lesbian. But both are beaten after a hallucination from Veronica as Betty walks into the power vacuum absorbing the popularity, now being a bad bitch. The parallels between how the top bitches act with the same song that accompanied Heather being played as Betty struts. We meet JD's dad. Skip! And plot twist, Heather is alive! This honestly surprised me the first time I watched it, as this is the first major deviation to the original's plot structure. And honestly, this version of Heather can be entertaining, but unfortunately not in this episode. Now, for my new segment for this show's reviews called Colour Coding. Here I will just point out my favourite uses of colour in this show, as they use it, much like their predecessor, as a way to get meaning across in more subtle ways than just outright saying it. 1. A single green match as the mother actress played Duke in the original movie, who wore green, much like this show's Duke, as it represented her envy of Chandler's power. 2. Veronica wears blue, her signature colour in the musical, and in some of the movie, representing her original calm exterior and fear of how the world reacts to the Heathers, one of which is twisted in this show soon. 3. The metal detectors hold the colour of each of the 4 main characters. 4. Veronica wears a sliver of red to show her position, as red is commonly related to power. 5. Fleming wears many colours to display her more hippie, peaceful personality. 6. Blue! 7. School's red colour on jocks represents their physical power, but not mental or social. 8. JD only wears dark colours because he is a bitch. I mean, a nihilist. 9. Veronica's house is pure white, just like how she's originally perceived at the start of the story as innocent, with blue being the only other colour. 10. Veronica is surrounded by red as she is threatened by Chandler. 11. She picks blue as opposed to red. 12. Red room, oh god. 13. Teachers wear dull colours representing their smarts. 14. Betty wears red when in power. Finally, this episode was a fairly decent start, even if it's not as good as the upcoming ones. I would rate the pilot episode a 6 out of 10. Thank you everyone for watching my review of the first episode of Heathers. If you liked it, give this video a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and ring the bell so that you're notified every time I make a new upload. Leave down a comment below what your favourite part of the episode was, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!